Awesome. Welcome, everybody, back to our
Hello.
lives. Hi, Jeroen.
I
Okay,
like I like this little music.
you like them?
It's nice.
Well, us in Jamaica, we like our music a little more,
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah,
I
it's
can
great.
work with the music. So thanks, everybody, for joining our lives again at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Jamaica time, and also 2 p.m. Curacao, Trinidad, Puerto Rico time as well. Thank you so much, Yoron, for joining again. And it's a
Yeah, you're
pleasure to
welcome.
have you
Same.
all with us. If you're team live, please type live in the comments, type where you're from, wherever in the world you're from or the region, please let us know. And if you're team replay, you can type hashtag replay as well. I'm Laycya Holmes Graham, and I'm happy to be here with you again, presenting on Power Platform, specifically Power BI. And Jeroen is here with me today
Yeah,
again. So, Jeroen, introduce yourself again. I know we do this all the time, but there may be new people
doesn't
on.
matter. Yeah, of course. My name is Jeroen Heerschop, and here it is 8 o'clock in the evening because I'm calling from the Netherlands. And
Yes.
yeah, we with our company, with my company, Get Responsive, we provide a lot of training in Power BI. So that's part of the Power Platform. And yeah, we do that from very small companies to very large companies. We provide trainings, and I love to share on LinkedIn also. And yeah, this kind of sessions are part of that because I think a lot of people still are new to the whole Power Platform and what it is and what it can do. So I love these
Exactly.
sessions that you organize to showcase that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here with me again. And I am just excited because I am doing the demoing
Mm.
today, right? So,
Yeah.
as I
Yeah.
said in my post, I am in the driver's seat today, right?
Yeah.
And Yurun is going to be in the passenger seat with me.
Yep.
So, I'm going to
Yeah.
actually share my
Cool.
screen. So, and just to give you a history of what we did last time. So, last time, we would have presented on how you could actually do and use the Power BI tool in a very simple way. We're taking it step by step. So we're not taking advantage of the fact that we know it. We want to share it with you step by step. You're new, you're fresh, that's fine. Or if you're not and you need to just refresh something, you can come right here and rewatch it on YouTube, right?
Yep.
So I'm actually really excited to share that I'm going to be presenting this lovely dashboard, right? And the reason that we decided to select expense and revenue management today is because most entities know, whether you're in SMB, commercial, enterprise, whatever it segmentation is called, you are managing your expenses. You're managing them daily, you're managing them monthly, and you're managing them quarterly and annually, right? For entities that are private, meaning they're not publicly traded, you're still managing it. And if you are publicly traded, it's even more strenuous on you because you have accountability from a national perspective as well as your shareholder perspective. So you do have to be using some form of analytics to manage that, right? You don't. I know you
Yeah,
have
it
that.
it it, it is it is a topic that is in every organization indeed. Everyone
Ex-
has money coming in and money coming out. So I think it's a great topic to yeah to
it is.
showcase how you can use Power BI to have an interactive dashboard, because that's what you're gonna build, I assume, or not.
Yes, that's what I'm going to build. Thank you for,
Okay.
just checking and not
Yeah.
assuming. So
Yeah.
if you look at my screen now, and I'm just going to ask the team to just bring it up, this is
Mhm.
what we're building today. We're building a financial report. So we're going to just keep it really simple. We're building a profitability line chart. We're looking at a regional view. And then we're also going to be looking at products by segment. And then we're going to build like a filter. They call it a slicer, right, in Power BI, as well
Yeah.
to just manage things, because most persons who manage any form of revenue or expense is looking at how it flows from month to month, quarter to quarter. Sometimes you want to see how things are managed during seasons, right? That's very important, especially now because seasonality is slightly different before the pandemic versus now during the pandemic. Yes. So we're
Mhm.
gonna start with a blank slate. just like when you're going to paint something. So we're going to start with a blank canvas. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, for those of us who like a little polish with our dashboards, we're going to insert a text box for the heading. So it's really simple, just like when you're using Word or you're using Excel, you want to have a little header, right?
Yeah.
Now, this part confused me. I'm going to tell you the truth. I had to go over here to title, then select on, right? So once you select that, then you can insert the title executive, right? Hopefully I spelled that right. And then we're going to say finance report, right? So you can actually just make it bigger if you want, right? You can increase the size. You can change the font color. I'm going to change it to white, and then I'm going to change the background color to blue. So that's essentially it. Then you can just move this up, really simple, not complex, right? And then if you want to increase the text size, you can keep doing that. And then you can drag this down so you can have that look and feel that you like, right? Nice polish. You know how it go like in school? When you're giving your homework with a folder, you get a sure A plus for effort, right? So you want to make sure that you have, no, you trust me, it makes a difference. So you want to make sure that you have that, right? So really simple, and you'll be surprised to see how long it takes to find these things, right? All right, so the next
and
thing...
Laycya, I find it very good that you start with the title, because I see a lot of dashboards and often the title is missing. What is this page or this dashboard about? What am I looking at? So people often forget it. So it's good that you start with it.
Right, because especially for BI teams that are building for executives, like no executive wants to look at a dashboard that they don't know. They have no context.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you want to make sure that you have that. So the next thing that we're going to do now is we're going to build this slide. So we're going to build a slide around the profitability and date. Now we had shown
and you already, because you're right away starting with a lot of data. Where could this data be coming from? Because you loaded the data already in Power BI
right. I
in
loaded
the first
it
step.
already, right? Because remember, we did that last week, so you need to watch last week on to see how we loaded the data.
I will rewatch
right?
it.
Yes, man, because we don't want to do that now. We're going straight into building it. So the data was loaded already. So now all we're going to do is we're going to drag the data across here and put it in this white section, right? We're going to drag it like that. So you're going to see a list of dates. Remember, everything that you're pulling comes from a table, right? And then you're going to select profit and drag the profit across in the same visual, right? Now, if you notice here, it's still shown as a table because the automatic visual is typically a table. So what you're going to do with the visualization section, you're going to have this same one selected and select line graph, right? Now you notice as soon as you do that, you're good to go. For those of you who would have had experience with using Excel, you would have been used to doing this in a different way. You would have built out a chart, right? So all you're doing is you're dragging. Now I just want to highlight something. When you're dragging the date goes on the axis section. And then when you drag the profit, it goes in the value section. Remember when you used to do graphs in school? You have the date on one axis and you have the profit on the other, so as to have an idea of the values being on the y-axis essentially and the date being on the x-axis. Just kind of keeping it simple, just so that you can understand the purpose of how things flow in terms of the data, right? So cool. We're getting somewhere. We're feeling like a star. We're encouraging ourselves. We are there. So the next thing that we're going to do now is we're going to build the profitability by country. Now, I don't know about you, but when I put a map on a BI, I feel like I feel really smart. So I feel so smart. Like I feel like I can, wow. So, okay, great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select profit first, right? I'm going to select profit first, or we can select country first, whichever. And let's try it. If we get it wrong,
Doesn't
no
matter.
problem.
Yeah.
We just fix it, right? So
You can't. I always tell our participants you can't break anything in Power BI because the data is somewhere else, right? And you can
right,
just play around with it and try things. And let's put that in the axis and let's put that in the values, right? That's the fun thing also about Power BI. It's very
exactly. Very easy to
try it
use.
out. Yeah.
So we're going to put country here now, right on top of it, like we did before.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Yeah.
notice we have a bar chart this time.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have a bar chart, but guess what? We have to do the map thing because we're going to look like a star now, right? So we're going to select map. So that's the map section here. Don't select this one, the filled map. It's going to like fill out everything. I didn't like that look. So select map.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, now look at that. G's and P's. You have your
Mm-hmm.
nice circles for each section. And if you zoom in and you go to each country, you can see the bubbles for each country in terms of the revenue or the
Yeah.
profit, rather, not revenue, profit, because
Yeah.
we have to focus on the finance terms here. The profit per country. Now, this
Yeah.
sample data that I used actually came with data for countries outside of the region. But because of my audience, I preferred to change that. So what I did was I went to the transform data section, which I'm going to go to now, and I actually changed the country columns. I changed the country column. So if you notice here, there were some applied steps. In the video previously, Jeroen had gone through some of this. Now,
Mm-hmm.
you can transform the data, and I changed some of the country because some of the countries were the US, Germany, etc. But we're presenting to the region, so I changed some of these fields or columns, or I would say cells, like what we would call it in Excel, but that's not what it's called now. So I went to the column here. It actually said country, and then I changed each of these to countries in the region. So you're able to do that. You can rename right here. You can actually select this and you can select rename. You can replace and rename. So you can rename the entire column name, or you can just select here, replace values, and you can replace each value, right? So I can
Yeah.
replace Jamaica and replace it with everything. Now, this is very
Yeah.
helpful.
That's a handy tip indeed because especially with maps, it needs to be recognized by the map, right? So if maybe it said Dutch Antilles, maybe then it wouldn't recognize it. It wouldn't draw it on the map. So then you say, okay, let's change that to another name, and then I can plot it on the map. And one other additional thing that people should realize, because these are now dots on the map, and you talked a little bit about these field maps. You can go as far as you want, eh? Because for one of our customers, for example, we went by postal code, by the
Oh,
postal
that's
area,
good.
and you can
That's
also plot
nice.
data. If you have the data available, you can plot that on the map, and then each region has a very green color if the revenue is high, and a very red color maybe if it's very low. Yeah? So these
That's
maps are
good to
also
know.
already the maps has a lot of possibilities.
That's good. Thanks for that. Because in
Yeah,
Jamaica, for example, we have multiple parishes. We have
yeah,
14. There may be a 15th parish.
yeah, yeah.
And so it would be good for us to see how we can include that. So maybe in the
Exactly.
next one, we
And
can
then you can
focus on that.
focus your marketing on that specific area, for example. And because
Exactly, exactly.
handy.
So you see how we can use this and get an idea of profitability by country. As you can see here, according to the data, Trinidad and Tobago is doing better. Then we have, I think this would be Curacao after, then Jamaica, then Puerto Rico, then Bahamas,
Yep.
according to what we're seeing here. So you can actually change it back to a bar if you
Yep.
want to have a view. Oh, that was the wrong one.
That's
So
the
let
other
me
one.
just
Yeah.
undo that. So you
Mhm.
notice you need to make sure you have the right one clicked, right? So I'm going to click the correct one here so I can change this back to a bar to see what the
Yep.
actual revenue is. But then you can visualize it here and change it back to the map.
Yep.
Now I'm going to do the aesthetics after. So let's finish the last visual, which has to do with profitability or profitability by product and segment. Now, if you notice, according to the sample data that we have, this is separated by different industries, different segments. So government, mid-market, small business, enterprise, and channel partners. Yes. So let's go over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to this table here and we're going to drag over. I think let's just clarify what we're dragging over here. We're going to be dragging over sales, right? So sales right here. And then we're going to put segment across it. Yes. So you notice there's a lot of drag and drop, right? So you're able to do that, right? Good stuff. Now you're gonna add this one has 3 of them that you're dragging across. It's not just segment and sales, you're also dragging across product. And that's how you would end up getting this area here. But do you notice something that has happened? You notice that there's a difference here. So over here, we have the keys in a different way, right? So you notice that? So over here, we have product.
Now that you say it.
Right. So I wanted to, and I did that deliberately because I want people to see how we manage the flow of what we're showing, right? So in the axis section, we have product. In the legend section, we have segment. So see the segment here, that's the legend. Remember that term is used from Excel. That legend term comes from Excel. So let's just use the knowledge that we've had before. And then for the values, we have sales. So let's go over to this new area. In this new area here now, we have it a little different. It's in the axis section that we have the product, that we have the segment rather, right? So we actually need to do a swap, right? You notice that?
Yeah, and how can you do that?
Like how you just asked me.
I'm so impatient.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I realize. So
let's fix it.
Yes, so we're gonna fix it now. So remember, we want to make sure that everybody understands. So what we're going to do now is we're going to swap segment and product.
Yeah.
So we're going to put product in here. So I'm going to close this out and I'm going to drag product to axis.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to put segment in the legend.
Yeah.
And
it's just like maybe people that watch this know about pivot tables also in Excel. It's a little bit like that, eh?
Exactly. Yes, it is.
But now it's only visualized instead of a table. It's a visual.
Yeah. Exactly. And we're basically finished the mass of the report. But the last section that we want to add is the slicer. Now, why would we want to have a slicer? As I mentioned before, we have slicers. Slicers are like filters, yes? It's just a fancy filter, right? So essentially all we're doing is we're adding that to make sure that we can have a flow and a view of the change of the visuals that we have. So in the interest of time, I just want to show what the slicer will do when we change different things. So when we add everything together and we highlight that, let's say, for example, we add 2013 only. If you notice, it changes the view of the items or the visuals on the right-hand side, right? So if we remove Q1, Q2, and Q3 by calendar year, you notice that we're here and the visuals have changed as well, right? So we want to show how that is changing across the different visuals. And that's very important as you're looking across things. So for example, if you're in an executive management meeting and people really want to understand what is happening from a metrics perspective, why did this take place? What does it look like? How we can change it? What are we looking at? When you're digging into the deeper questions, that's when you actually start to leverage a slicer. If you notice, most of us who manage revenue, profit, targets, anything like that, filter is our best friend, right?
Yeah, and these slicers have a lot of possibilities because, for example, and now it's 12 months, but if you have a list of 300 products, for example, you can add to the slicer a little search field that you can look for, every product that contains this and this text, and then it automatically shows the 5 products, right? So it's a very handy way to filter all your visuals in one go, indeed. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But the interactivity, and I think you showed it before, but is also on the visuals. So if you select, for example, one of the products there, then also everything is updated, and the other ones, or is
I
it?
notice it's not happening here. But you know
Oh,
what? We
okay.
can
We'll
fix
fix
that
it.
another time.
All
All
right.
right, so let's add the slicer. Let's add the slicer in. So I'm going to select this. It's actually right here. So if you notice, let me tell you, this one caught me too. Okay. Just look for a little funnel, and that's the slicer visual. That
Yeah,
is how
filter.
I
Yeah,
managed it, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
you carry it over here, right? And you can actually use that one now. So what we're going to do, so let's just look back at what's in the slice. So what are we managing here? We're managing date.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's be clear. There's no year and month here. There's a year sum and stuff like that. But we're essentially just managing date. So when you click on this slicer here, you notice that we have date. So we're managing date. So what we're going to do now is over here, we're going to select date from the calendar table, and we're going to drag it all the way down, right? And then once we have that, if you notice, everything starts with a table, and you like to do that. For those of us that come from a database background or not, that's fine. Your table is a great reference that you're on the right track, right? Then you select the slicer. So if you notice right here, we have it by quarter, right? So if you select quarter 4 and quarter 3, you notice all the visuals have changed, right? So what we can also do now is when we want it to look like just year and month in this section here. So getting to know this visual section, when you click here, you have year, quarter, month, and date. What we can take off quarter and day. We may not want that type of detail. We want it by year and month. Why? Maybe this executive team or team in general is a little more granular by month. Maybe they're getting into the details by month. So when you select, for example, August and September, if you notice here, I'm just gonna select multiples. If you notice, all the visuals have changed. So you have a view of how the sales fluctuated over a quarter and a month, right? And what it looks like, yes? So let's go into, for example, the first quarter of the year, right? The first quarter of the year, as you can see, was a little slow for these particular items, but then for Paseo, it was pretty good. So maybe this is the cheapest one. It could be that, right? Because in certain areas, the beginning of a year actually is a little rough for people because they would have just ended the holiday season, yes? So you have January, February, March. Let's look at that quarter and see what's happening there. And if you notice, amarilla, which is actually, I think it's yellow in Spanish, right? You notice here there's an increase here. Small business bought a lot of VTT. So that's something to observe in the particular quarter. VTT was heavily bought. So you can see how you can get into some of those details, and that's how you can leverage analytics
And
to
that's the
really
nice thing
understand what is
about
going on.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about Power BI. It's all visual. So you see in one go, you see these high bars. It would have been much harder to see that where you would have 25 numbers in a table there, right? Because then you would have to go
Exactly.
row by row. Oh, this is a high number and this. And people are
Exactly.
underestimating still how much easier it is to have a visual way of looking at your data. To
Right.
right away spot
Definitely.
the
It's very
examples you gave. Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
And I think also too what is very good about business intelligence is that it prevents this recency tendency that we tend to have as human beings. So when a quarter ends and
Mhm.
everybody may have bought Amaria, you feel that Amaria is the hottest thing. But then you may move to another quarter, and then you'll find that there is a completely different item that is being purchased,
Yeah,
VTT.
for example. Yeah.
So when it prevents this view and this perspective of comfort for a particular product or a particular
Yeah.
experience,
Yeah.
because there is seasonality to purchasing.
And I really invite people who are watching this, just load a data set, play around with it, try it out. because Power BI is both fitting to do ad hoc analysis, and play around with new measures and new dimensions. And if you're happy with it, and you think, hey, this should be for now, be our executive report. Now you save it, and you can automatically let it be refreshed every week or every month. So it's both for static reporting and for trying things out and trying to find new trends or new dependencies or whatever. For both, it's fitting, and that's nice. You can do both.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So this is the end of my demo. I know you have another dashboard that's
Yeah,
more
very shortly, just
elegant.
because I see that we're already closing the half
Yes.
hour. So let me share my screen in the meantime. Just as an example, it's exactly the same technique as what you did. But this is one of our demo dashboards. So it's different kind of things you see here, and next to the titles we also added some icons, because icons can also be very powerful to right away see,
Very much
this
so.
is about the money. This also, but you can add buttons like this is all Power BI, so it's not nothing else. So you can go to your finance numbers, so also here we have a revenue. You see the same slices that you also showed. Let me this is a little bit a different slicer, you see. You can just
Yes.
click
Yes.
multiple items if you want. Let me see. um, this is by country, for example, that I can also select specific countries, and all interactive. So the same interactivity that we also saw just now. You can click on any element of a table, and the rest is automatically adjusted. So if I want to see, hey, why is this customer doing poorly, or can I pick this customer? Maybe that's a better example. So you can go through the numbers. You can also add tables if you want to have the details. That's also possible in Power BI. Just as an inspiration, this
Yes.
is all
Yes.
possible in Power BI.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much for this. And you can make it your own, put it in your different colors. I particularly like warmer colors.
Of
And
course,
then there
you
are
can change
persons
it.
who like darker colors, they
Yeah,
might like a little night theme, right?
yeah.
So we just want to close and thank you so much for coming and joining our session. Thanks for learning with us on Power BI, which is a part of Power Platform. Jeroen, thank you so much for being a
You're
part of
welcome.
these
Thank
sessions
you.
with us
Thank
at
you.
8 o'clock in the night. You know it's serious, right?
It's okay. That's
And
not too
thank
bad.
you so much, everybody, for being a part of Team Live. If you're a Team Replay, look out for it on YouTube, look out for it on our posts on LinkedIn, and join us another time for another topic. All right. And thank you
Okay.
so much. Have a great, great afternoon and
Bye,
evening.
everyone. Bye.